Time for another installment of the basics, and on this show I want to show you a scenario of what happens in the Star Trek card game when you run out of cards and your discard pile is bigger than your draw deck. So let's get started, shall we? Now, unlike Magic the Gathering, the Star Trek CCG, when played, does run long, more often than not. Games are typically 40 minutes to an hour, possibly longer. But when you run out of cards in your draw deck and you have almost nothing left in your hand, it is very problematic, especially when you and your opponent are at the point of a game, when you're trying to score those last points and wrap everything up. So here are some things to consider when you're very deep into a game of the Star Trek CCG and your draw deck and discard pile look like that. First things first, what's left in your hand? In this case, I'm using my Klingon deck. I have two low-ranking personnel with okay attributes. I have one event, which is a static warp bubble. Plays on the table, opponent must discard one card before ending each turn, not cumulative. And as an interrupt, I have auto-destruct. Plays on one of your own ships. Ship will self-destruct at the end of your turn. Explosion damages all other ships at same location, which have shields less than 8. In this case, there's not much I can do. I could put out another personnel onto my ship, which only has about 5 left, but he's already stuck at that mission because of that damn dilemma that I've uncovered right before the points. And I've gone through my personnel on the ship and I've checked the attributes on these personnel. It's not enough to help complete the mission. The next thing you have to take into the consideration, how far away is your ship from your outpost? Because you have to get your personnel from the outpost onto the ship. Well, my bird of prey has a range of 6 and my outpost is all the way down here. I don't have any other ships left. I probably don't have another ship coming up in the last 2 cards that are sitting in my draw deck. Because this deck only has 3 ships and I'm down to 1, so yeah. The other thing to consider is how close are the points totals between you and your opponent. So at this juncture I'm sitting at 75, this mission is worth 35, which puts me over the top to win. My opponent's sitting at 80, but he's also stuck. Obviously not pictured because I'm just using one deck for this. So now you have to consider all of that, and you also have to consider if he's going to make a run to wherever you are on the space line. Doubtful at this point of the game because you're both down on resources, you both only have 1 or 2 ships left at the most, and your personnel are waning and you're getting stuck on the last dilemmas. So what do you do? Well, you're probably not going to get the personnel you need or have the time to go to your outpost to get more people back on your ship and go back to that mission. So, the only logical conclusion is to pass your turn over and to see what he does, or you can play your auto-destruct if he's at the space-time location that you're at and send both of you straight to hell. But again, that could backfire. The other saving grace you might have is, do you have a side deck with you? And in this case, my Klingon deck does not have a side deck. If you get into this situation and you don't have a side deck, you are essentially screwed. It's a crapshoot as to whether or not you or your opponent are going to win the game. If he has more personnel coming up left than what he has in his draw deck, then he will pretty much win the game at this point. Now, the problem a lot of players get into when they have a scenario like this, and this goes for some older players but a lot of new players, is they get frustrated. Extremely frustrated at the turn of events. Unfortunately, if you're this deep into a game with this many problems and almost no cards left to bring out, there's no point in getting frustrated. You're going to have to take it turn by turn. If you lose, you lose. If you somehow miraculously win, you win. It's as simple as that. I can understand if you're losing early in the game and you're getting killed or you're getting stuck on pointless dilemmas that you thought you could get past, but if you're this far into the game and this is happening, there's no point getting frustrated. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. It's as simple as that. Have a great day, everybody.